Hello everyone, this is part 46 of What If Naruto Learned the Secret of Shadow Clone, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Though Naruto could make untold amounts of clones in order to make use of his time more efficiently, today still found him happily behind his desk and working through a stack of paperwork. This morning, while untangling himself from various bodies, the glare Tayuya had leveled his way had been rather epic. He did owe her after all, making her watch after the village multiple times on short notice. So today she got to be attended to by several clones for a personal spa day, while he got to work. She did make sure he promised to have an actual date night later on, which he was happy to oblige. So here he was in his office as the sun rose to bathe his city in light and warmth while his office was unusually crowded. Mei and Tsunade were lounging about off to the side, drinking and chatting away while Sakura and Sasuke acted the part of guards, though both decided to tease him from time to time. Tsunade cackled as Mei was telling a story about one of her own guards, Chojuro, who had recently walked in on her while she had been changing in an attempt to deliver a report. Tsunade had to take a minute to wipe a very real tear away from her eyes. "My god, woman, you're going to give that boy a heart attack." Mei only smirked and twirled her hair between dexterous fingers. "The boy means well, but he needs some confidence is all. Why, he may just reach Naruto-sama status one day." As the women laughed and joked around, Naruto read through a report detailing a dedication park that Tayuya had approved that apparently told of his heroic deeds over the last few years. "Wonderful. You know, if you wanna laze about my office, you could at least offer to help out." Naruto wasn't going to complain about the beautiful women hanging around his office, if they could at least keep it down. Mei of course knows his weakness, leaning back and batting her eyelashes at him with a smirk. "Why, you'd put this delicate flower to work, Naruto-sama." She had to repress the shiver that worked down her spine as his eyes latched onto her. "Say it isn't so. I thought I was worthy of pampering." Tsunade as well is pointing a finger at him while her other hand holds up a half-full glass of sake. "I distinctly remember telling you that I needed to return to my village. You're the one that brought me all the way here, so be happy I'm not wrecking the place." Of course, he had shown her the rather nice little hideaway he was offering her, and it did have an amazing view. Not that she was being tempted, completely at least. "This is your fault." It had been a lot of sake stored away in the end. Grumbling and knowing that yes, it was his fault, Naruto went back to work. No, it all women. Filing away the park paperwork and reminding himself to have a chat with Tayuya, he pulled free the next in line. Discourse in the land of vegetables. With their success in the land of demons, perhaps they could garner some goodwill here. He'd have to put a team together. Maybe send Kyuki and Shin along after it was confirmed there was no danger present. Seeing Naruto actually focused, Sakura couldn't help but smirk from his left shoulder. "You know, if you try to bug out again, Tayuya is going to skin you alive." Seeing her friend twitch at that had her cheering mentally. Sasuke agreed, nodding sagely though Naruto couldn't see him. "Either that or she's going to approve even more monuments to you and your family. I really think you underestimate just how much your people love you." Which to Sasuke wasn't a bad thing. Sure, when he was a kid and the Konoha Council heaped praise on him for being an Uchiha, it was unfounded. But here Naruto had earned it with his own blood and sweat. He should bask in it a little. Naruto finally sighed and set that letter into a separate pile to be dealt with later. Maybe he should put a few teams together to address the continent housing the land of demons. The land of sky needed to be brought into the fold now that he had so completely stomped them, and there were several nations within that area's borders that needed assistance or saving. Naruto and Fu have been wanting to explore. Could be fun for them, and it'll net Uzushio more allies. "Naruto, Undertow Team 3 is here to deliver a report." Ino's voice spoke from his intercom, distracting him for the moment and earning a sigh from him. Sure, send em in." Naruto watched as the wetsuit-wearing team entered his office, sandals at least dry while the rest of the gear was stored away in backpacks. Naruto got the feeling they were literally fresh from a recent patrol. "Anything new?" Their leader, a shorter man with buzzcut hair and a deep tan, shook his head. "Nothing today, Lord Uzumaki." As you ordered, we have adjusted our patrols to account for our newest visitor, though they seem to do nothing but sleep all day long. Handing over a scroll with the daily report, the team of 3 all saluted Naruto smartly. Any new orders, sir? Naruto waved them off as he set the report aside to read later. No, though maybe remind Isaribi to take a break herself today. Hearing the team chuckle as they turned to leave, Naruto just knew he'd have to go track down the shapeshifting woman himself. Either that or send Tayuya after her. I'm surrounded by workaholics. Sakura shifted her weight back and forth, hands on her hips. I know you aren't talking. I'm different, I'm the Cage. Tsunade leaned back to look at him from over a shoulder. Cage need breaks too, brat. I told you that. Naruto nods. You aren't wrong. I know that. The door opened again, and Naruto watched a smirking Ino sashaying her way inside. Oh. What's up, Ino Haim? He really hoped the stack of paperwork in her arms wasn't all for him. Preening as she set down the entire stack on his desk, Ino made sure to lean over extra just for him. Oh, nothing, just some drop-offs to be filed away later. Lower-level stuff that didn't need to be completed by you. While Naruto had been away, the Foxton girls had been busy organizing and making sure only work Naruto needed to see made it to his desk. Every moment freed up meant more time for them after all. Also, the Chinoiks sent a message that they would like a word with you sometime this week. Naruto nods, doing his best to keep eye contact with Ino's lovely jade eyes. Alright, maybe in a couple of days, I have a few projects to finish up. He still had been making untold amounts of clones early in the morning. He sure hoped the girls enjoyed the upcoming surprise. Ino nods while standing up straight and beginning to strut out of his office. I'll be sure to let En know. Waving a hand over her shoulder, she's soon gone and back at the secretary desk. Why do I feel like we interrupted something? Sakura couldn't help but feel like Ino had been of the mind to continue something else, not just an operations update. Naruto sighed and shook his head. Trust me, you never want to know what's going on in Ino's head. The woman was insatiable and Naruto knew exactly what she would have suggested if his office wasn't full of other people today. Not that he would have said no either. And that sent him on a rabbit hole of thoughts that made paperwork a distant memory. Watching his brother begin to giggle and zone out, Sasuke sighed as his ears caught the distant sounds of rumblings in the air. Looking over his shoulder, he spied an airship making its way towards the tower. Looks like the Suna team has finally returned. That perked Naruto up as the building began to vibrate. Kyuki and the others are home. Perfect. Already making plans to ditch his work to his clones, Naruto felt a soft hand on his shoulder and turned to see a sweetly smiling Sakura there waiting for him. You're gonna remind me that Tayuya will tie my balls in a knot, aren't you? That Sakura only nodded slowly had Naruto sighing and sitting back down. I'm just excited to see the girls is all. They'll come to you, have some patience Gaki. Tsunade tossed in her own thoughts before returning to her conversation with Mei. The Mizukage was just full of interesting tidbits. True to her words, after a few minutes of waiting and returning to his paperwork, Naruto was greeted by a happy group of Kyuki, Kotohime and Karen. Unable to wait, Kotohime is the first to bound his way and drop herself into his lap, giggling and hugging him tightly around the shoulders while Kyuki stood with her arms crossed and Karen had her hands on her hips. Both women secretly wishing they had rushed ahead first. Kotohime was more focused on enjoying her cuddle time. It's good to be home. Naruto nods, kissing the woman lightly before focusing on the others, so I'm guessing things went well in Suna. Feeling a subtle weight leave his shoulders, Naruto was happy to see the rest of his girls home safe and sound. Yes, Suna was an ally, but anything could happen out on the road. Well, he supposed. Kyuki smiled and nodded, having taken a second to bow to Tsunade and Mei in greeting. Yes. Trade expansions with Suna went very well, but we also had a chance to smooth things out with a few other nations. Fang, Claw, mountains and rivers. I may be rushing, but if I can somehow get grass, waterfalls, and rain into talks, we may be able to expand our train network. Which back home she could already feel the engineers in spring celebrating. More allied nations meant more train connections and more work contracts. Sounds like you've been super busy then. But congratulations on a job well done. Naruto grins and hugs Kotohime tightly again, eliciting a laugh from her as he tickled her sides before releasing her. But you should take a break, relax and rest for a while before thinking about more trips. No overworking yourselves. Karen shrugged, we're only taking our cues from you. Shifting her weight from one hip to the other, she graciously let the other pregnant woman exchange places with Kotohime, Kayuki happily enjoying a quick cuddle with the Uzukage. For what it's worth, it's good to see you actually in one place. Naruto stares directly at Karen, who after a minute blushes and looks away. Yeah, I'm not the one who still overworks themselves, am I? Don't let me catch you in the basement for at least a couple of days. More like she'd do it just to get a rise out of him. The minx. Anything else new I need to worry about or should be updated on? Kayuki sighed from her perch in his lap, a thoughtful look on her face. Have you had a chance to talk with Temari yet? Seeing Naruto shake his head with wide eyes, Kayuki shook her own. They are here, correct? Naruto nods. Yeah, Gaara and his siblings are touring the city right now. Why? Letting the woman up? Naruto raised an eyebrow. What did you do? Nothing that isn't your fault. Kayuki winked at him before standing with Kotohime and Karen. We just had an interesting conversation with Suna's counsel was all. Hearing Sakura snort behind him and Sasuke give a tired groan, Naruto decided to feign ignorance. It wasn't his fault, he had to remind himself. He didn't do anything. Right. Well, we're all glad you're home. Where's the airship headed next? Kayuki shrugged. Back to Spring, and then regular trips between Spring, Azu, and Suna. Suna gains their attention, standing and stretching with an exaggerated motion before picking up her green jacket and tossing it on. Waving goodbye to May, she turns honey-colored eyes towards the pregnant duo. Welp, since I'm here, let's give you girls a checkup. I wanna make sure my grandkids are doing well. Kotohime and Kayuki exchange quick glances, before the more brave Kotohime eyes up the Sannin. I'm sure we're fine, Tsunade-sama. Karen does a good job taking care of us. Tsunade easily slid both women under her arms, dragging them away as if they were children. Oh, I'm sure she does, but call it Grandma's prerogative. Now come along. Hey Sakura, you two, get over here. Hopping to attention, Sakura is already following Tsunade out of the office. Yes, ma'am. Naruto waved him off, a smirk on his face. Good luck. Watching Kotohime and Kayuki protest and yet still get dragged away, he wished them well all the same. Tsunade was the best at what she did after all. His eyes turned to Karen. What about you? Gonna go home and relax? Karen nods. Actually, I think I'm gonna head out, pick up some food. I've got some gossip for Ayami after all. Here she grins at him. Wanna ditch work and have a date? I'd love to, but I'd rather not acquire a certain woman's wrath. Ooh. Did you piss off Tayuya again? Karen snorted as he nodded glumly and came around finally to share a soft kiss with him. Oh I'll bring you back something and we'll see about that pesky woman. Hey, bring me back some ramen would ya? And tell Ayami Ne-chan I said hey. Naruto felt his heart soar as Karen nodded and winked at him. And I promise, we can hit the town later and have a proper date, okay? Seeing her smile brightly for him, she too was gone through the door after a moment. Sasuke smirks, relaxing a bit more with his own girlfriend long gone. You just can't help yourself, can you? I have no reason to, call me greedy. Having some space finally, Naruto made a pair of clones who took the previously left pile of paperwork to begin filing it away on his bookshelf. Seeing May watching him curiously, he focused on her for a moment. Have anything you want to do while you are here? Besides maybe a few days just exploring the city? No. I should be returning to my own village after all. May knew that her own work was most likely piling up, and they had a small backlog of missions. Unless you can spare some clones to take care of my own paperwork. Yeah, I don't think it'd work out quite as well. Naruto sighed as May gained a twinkle in her eyes and decided he didn't want to know what thoughts were going on in her head. Naruto, Riptide Team 1 has returned. With guests. Ino's voice again broke the silence of the office and Naruto raised an eyebrow at the slight worry in her voice. Interesting. Send them. Naruto watched as a worn-out Jugo and the Fuma girls entered his office, followed by a taller Bishonen-type man and a tired but anxious-looking blonde girl. The man was dressed in traditional blues noting from Kiri, while the girl was dressed in a mix of ninja attire that was purple and black. Watching his team come to attention, he noted idly May's eyes locking on the man. Standing quickly, May is soon off to the side of his desk, staring directly at Utakata. Utakata, you're alive. Where have you been? Oh, hello, Lord Mizukage, it's been a long journey. Obviously. I sent an Anbu team to inform you that leadership had changed and it was safe for you to return. When the team returned without you, I was more than a little confused. What was so important that you would risk staying away from the village with the likes of Akatsuki out and about? Looking everything like a put-upon son, Utakata turned for some type of help from the Riptide team or Hotaru. All of such, however, knew not to get involved with a cage dressing down one of their ninja. Dot had a previous engagement. Is that so? Something more important than a summons from your cage? I'd love to hear that story. May turned to bow to Naruto. I need him for a moment, please don't mind us. May didn't wait, grabbing Utakata by the arm and dragging him off to the side towards Naruto's weapon wall, voice low to continue her questioning. Naruto offered a silent prayer to the man before turning back to his team. Looks like you all had some fun. What's the report? Jugo stands a bit straighter while taking the time to explain to Naruto everything that happened while they had been returning from their mission in Claw. From finding Hotaru wandering the forest, to their tracking down of the Akatsuki hidden base and encountering Itachi. That got a rise out of Naruto, but Jugo continued on to explain Kin's plan to get away, and their frantic flight back to Azushio with Utakata and Hotaru's deal with them for Finder her sensei. At the end of it, Jugo bowed deeply to Naruto. I understand I may have overstepped my bounds, taking on a mission like this. I will submit myself for whatever punishment you deem necessary. Naruto quickly waved a hand and bid Jugo to raise his head. None of that. You did nothing that I wouldn't have done myself. You did the right thing, Jugo. I won't be punishing you for that. Naruto gave Kin an appraising eye, however. The young woman had found a way to break out of an Uchiha genjutsu, and wasn't that something to note? Go ahead and head up to our home, get some rest, and then file a complete report tomorrow. Make note, Kin, in as much detail as you can, about Itachi's genjutsu. You did well, congratulations. All three members of Riptide bowed deeply to their lord. Yes, Uzumaki-sama. And yet, they stayed behind as Naruto's gaze now turned to the fidgeting Hotaru, who stood ramrod straight as his eyes locked onto her. Now then, what to do with you? Naruto eyed the blonde and wondered what he could do with yet another clan at his disposal. While he felt a certain way about a clan willing to use a sacrificial technique that could build a living bomb out of a person, he couldn't pass up more ninja. Are you sure you speak for your whole clan? Hotaru was nervous. Even she had heard some of the rumors surrounding the Azukage and his certain appetite. Yes sir. I can speak for them. While that wasn't entirely true, she was sure after everything that had happened she could convince the chief to see her side of things. We are a strong and proud clan. I'm sure we can fill whatever role you need. Naruto hums at that, thinking it over. Is that so? Mind already wondering if the clan would relocate here or not, which meant more work to find them suitable living space. Or maybe they could stay where they were, not like everyone needed to migrate to Azushio at this point. What was their specialty anyway? Hotaru wasn't privy to his thoughts, only instead watching the intense look on concentration settling on his face while he watched her. Wondering if the rumors were in fact true, and eventually beginning to worry about it and wanting to make sure her village would be treated fairly, Hotaru sighed mentally and bowed deeply to him. Of course, if needed, I could serve the Azukage directly in any capacity. Naruto was only half paying attention, nodding his head absent-mindedly. Coming back to his senses, he eyed the bowing girl before shrugging. Won't be necessary. Instead, head out to my secretary Ino and have her set you up with a temporary living space while we get in contact with your clan. While you agreed with my team to become members of Azushio, I'd like to make sure that it is in fact something your clan wants. Naruto wasn't about to force anyone to join him after all. Hotaru stood up straight, a bit puzzled but nodding all the same. If that is what you wish, Uzumaki-sama. Maybe he wasn't some nefarious womanizer after all. Naruto nods and motions to the door. We'll put a team together in a few days and escort you back to your clan. Azushio is always willing to make new friends, and we'll settle things properly in negotiations. Naruto turned eyes towards Riptide and winked at him. Go get some rest, all of you. You've more than earned it. Jugo and the others turned to leave, letting Hotaru leave before them. As you wish, Naruto-sama. Jugo's voice still carried a hint of how tired he was, but he was smirking all the same. Naruto waved him off. I told you, Jugo, it's Naruto. N.A. Ru. 2. Of course, Naruto-sama. Kin giggled as Sasum leaned into her for support. I'm so tired, Kin. Kin nods. Yeah, we've got to step up our training. Sleep. Kin shook her head as they left. Triag. And then the door was closed. Ino's surprised face the last thing they saw as Hotaru began speaking with her in a hushed voice. Not worried about them now that he knew they were home, Naruto turned to Mei and Utakata, who looked seconds away from trying to jump out his window. Mei looked ready to throttle the Jinchuriki and Naruto felt like helping the guy out. Sara, hate to interrupt, but seeing as my team brought you in, what would you like to do from here on? Utakata right. Seeing a safe haven, Utakata turns to Naruto quickly, though Mei continues to glare at his back. Honestly, with everything settled and apparently the news that Kirigakure has indeed settled our civil war, I'd like to return home. I'd like to see it for myself. Feeling eyes burning into the back of his head, Utakata began to sweat, and I'd like to check in on Hotaru, at least once or twice. The girl was responsible for saving him in the end. He owed her that much. Naruto's estimation of the other Jinchuriki goes up a bit. Well, Azu and Kiri are allies now, so you should be able to freely travel to see her from now on. Naruto wasn't going to stand in the way of a Jinchuriki finding love if that was what this was. Life was hard enough for them. I'm sure we can arrange some quick travel back to Kiri. Mei is standing next to Utakata in a blink, one arm wrapped around his own while she smiled sweetly at Naruto. If you don't mind, I'll escort this troublemaker home. Mei winked at Naruto. I will of course continue to offer you a free visit when time allows. Hopefully sometime soon, yes. Naruto can't help but nod, thankful to have a reprieve from the woman even if it was only because her focus had shifted to another poor soul. I'll come and visit soon. I'd love to see your home. Naruto eyed up Utakata and mentally saluted the man and his sacrifice. I'm sure getting your lost ninja home and settled is at the top of your to-do list right now. Mei nods quickly. I'm glad you understand, Naruto-sama. Here she turns to Utakata. Now then, shall we go? You have a lot to answer for after all. Utakata is soon dragged away. Mei focused on the single task of getting Utakata back in Kiri and hopefully far away from Akatsuki's clutches. I'll show you, the Mist Village has done a lot of self-reflection lately. You'll see. Voice fading as they left the office, Naruto was finally left alone with Sasuke, office much more peaceful after the last hour or so. Relaxing back into his very comfortable chair, Naruto gave thanks to the kami for the quiet. Sasuke can't help but poke at him. Looks like that Utakata just saved you a lot of headaches for now. Yup. Even if I'll probably pay for it later. Oh yeah. Leaving a tired and worn-out Jinchuriki with their cage who apparently actually really cares about them wasn't a good idea. Sasuke chuckles as Naruto's shoulders slump a bit. He'll live. Oh, I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about how much Mei is going to want to thank me later for my team helping him out and rescuing him. Yeah, you're on your own there. It's not my fault. You're the cage, Naruto. It's all your fault. Shit. I'll pray for you. I'll need it, thanks. Naruto returned to his work, mentally gearing himself back up while Kurama finally seemed to wake and yawn loudly in his mind. We still on for tonight? Yeah, you ready? I was born ready, little brother. Good. They had something fun to get to for once. B. Hinata was enjoying a short trip through the city and now in wave as she considered what had her out and about today. It was rare for her to be summoned by anyone other than Naruto or one of the other Foxton girls these days. Sure, officially she didn't have much to do with the inner workings of Uzushio, but unofficially she, like many of the other girls, had found interesting roles to play when they had the free time. Working as a secretary for Naruto was fun and something important to do, but her real calling came from her work dealing with relations between the various ninja clans within Uzushio. Born from her original desire to see her own clan reformed and changing its ways, she now wanted to see all of the Uzushio clans working together towards common goals. So now these days she was the one they called when there were minor conflicts of interests between clans, or when negotiations needed to be scheduled. It was fun and fulfilling work, and something that she had been happy to do. Neji and the Hotaru clan certainly didn't complain, instead trying to get her to take on the role of clan head for them. Not that she would. No, she was still trying to get Neji to fully take that role. But today was different. Tsunami had sent a messenger along to find her. So here she was walking along the streets of Wave while she wondered if maybe a new clan had taken up residence in Wave while they all had been away. Either that or maybe Tsunami herself had something personal to bring up with the girl. That thought sent Hinata wondering, curious if maybe Tsunami was finally ready to move on. Maybe she was interested in Naruto as well. That'd be a surprise to be sure. Waving to a few passerby who recognized her, Hinata tried and failed to shake the thought. Tsunami did seem very at ease dealing with Naruto and adjusting to the group whenever she had time to visit. Plus she always had such wonderful tips for various homemaking tasks. Blushing and shaking her head to clear it of dirty thoughts, Hinata huffed and focused on her walk. Reaching Tsunami and Tazuna's home, Hinata knocks on the door and waited for a moment. Hearing footsteps, the door is opened to reveal a brightly smiling Tsunami who steps back to allow Hinata entrance. Welcome Hinata, how are you? Doing well I hope. Tsunami gives her new wardrobe a glance, eyeing the braid her long hair was now in. I love the new look. Hinata nods as she comes in, waiting for Tsunami to close the door behind her. Thank you. I've found that being more open with myself and my feelings has been very liberating. Plus it helps that Naruto likes it. So I'm well. We just returned from the Cage Summit. All good news there. Tsunami took the lead, leading Hinata deeper into her home with a smile and a wave. I hope this is just a friendly chat you have planned. You certainly didn't give me a lot of details. Tsunami still has a smile on her face as she bows lightly. Yes, well, this situation was a bit personal and I wasn't sure how to bring it up through a missive. So I decided bringing you here personally was for the best. Well, that certainly lined up with Hinata's thoughts. Well, you know us Tsunami, you're always welcome to speak your mind with whatever you need. We'll never judge you after all. Tsunami was instrumental in the formation of Uzushio, so they more than owed her a great deal. If the woman needed some comfort, they were more than willing to give up Naruto for a few nights. Tsunami was thankful that the Uzumakis were so laid back, though mentally she was way off target on what Hinata was hinting at. Yes, well, a few days ago we received some interesting visitors that I think you'll want to see for yourself. Coming into her living room, Tsunami stands aside as a perplexed Hinata turns to take in Hanabi and Konohamaru sitting on one of the couches. Eyes going wide, Hinata stands stock still as Hanabi smirks at her sister. Eyeing the older girl who apparently decided to ditch her modesty during her time in Uzushio, Hanabi instead decided to focus on the speech she had prepared for when she met her sister. Hello dear sister, surprised to see me. Blinking owlishly for a moment as all of her thoughts were derailed, Hinata took a moment to mentally reboot. Hanabi. Was she under a genjutsu? How could her sister possibly be here? And without Hiyashi? Why yes, it's me. I've come explain in great detail the error of your. Hanabi didn't get to finish as her sister was suddenly in front of her, dragging her to her feet and shaking her back and forth. Hinata, for all her calm and happy demeanor, suddenly remembered that the Hyuga were nothing but giant pains in the ass. What are you doing? You aren't supposed to be here and I know father wouldn't have given you the okay to leave home. Did you get an escort? Permission? You didn't, did you? Hinata paused in her shaking, seeing Hanabi try and fail to form words as she had not prepared for an assertive Hinata to take control right away. You foolish girl. Do you have any idea how much trouble you could have caused? And look, you dragged Konohamaru into this. Where did you go? Do you know how dangerous things are for someone like you outside of the village? You risked your life and for what? What? I just know when father finds out he's going to try and force Konoha to lodge a complaint against Uzushio for this. Hinata pauses again, Hanabi's eyes swirling as the older girl sighed finally, heart rate starting to come down to something more normal. If you wanted a visit I would have come to you, all you had to do was call. Send a message. Anything. You know Lady Tsunade communicates with Naruto and I. Laughing and having not stopped since Hinata started shaking the proud and lofty Hanabi, Konohamaru was clutching his stomach with real glee. Serves the princess right. I told you so. Hanabi took a second to shake herself from her sister's hands, repressing her urge to give Konohamaru the finger as she looked up into the firm but all worried eyes of her older sister. Had she really been so wrong about everything? No. Impossible. Your idiot husband is influencing you too much. Just look at yourself. That's why I came all this way too. Why was her sister suddenly looming over her with an aura of clear murderous intent surrounding her? Suddenly it was very hard to breathe. Think carefully on your next words, little sister. I love you, but speaking out of turn about my husband will require correction. Do you understand? Hinata missed her sister, yes, but she would not put up with anyone speaking ill of Naruto or her new family. Hanabi kept wide eyes on her suddenly very scary big sister. Maybe she had miscalculated her. I feel like I've made a mistake. Hinata nods, smiling pleasantly and sitting them both down on Tsunami's couch while said woman had snuck away to the kitchen to give them some privacy. Now then, taking a deep breath to steady herself, Hinata locked eyes with Hanabi. Tell me everything. Why are you here? Confronted with the fact that Hinata was not the weak-willed girl that she remembered before she left Konoha, Hanabi was suddenly very unsure of how to continue. Blushing and looking away, fidgeting with her hands, she was faced with the reality that nothing had gone the way she had hoped on this journey. Not even confronting her sister, which should have been the easiest part of all of this. Here sat a strong and confident woman who knew exactly who she was, and it was a bit humbling. Konohamaru eyed the suddenly shy Hanabi and stabbed right to the core of the problem, speaking up and knowing Hanabi might shank him later. Hanabi just missed you was all. The princess just doesn't know how to admit it. Unable to stop the growl that left her throat, Hanabi turned to Konohamaru, who blurted out the words that were in her mind. The monkey should mind their own business. Her thoughts were derailed further when instead of another shaking fit, Hinata pulled her into a soft and very comfortable hug, nestling Hanabi's head in her ample bosom. Wah! Hinata sighed, emotions finally calmed down some as she really thought about things. Hanabi was safe and sound, and that was what was important. She could grill her more later, she supposed. You foolish girl. Next time just call me. I missed you as well, little sister. She really had as well. While she still felt like punting her father into orbit, she had always wished that she had reconciled with her sister before she left. Now perhaps, was a chance to do just that. Holding Hanabi out at arm's length, Hinata held eye contact with the girl. Please promise me that next time you won't risk your life and you'll just call me instead. Nodding dumbly, Hanabi doesn't fight the hug that she's pulled back into. This was nice. Warm. Safe. Was this how mother would have held her? It sure felt like a mother's embrace. Deciding not to fight it and just accept it while her own arms snake around Hinata's midsection, Hanabi does promise herself to stomp Konohamaru into the dirt for getting involved later. But that was for later. She could admit to herself that she did miss her elder sister. After a few minutes, Hanabi finally pulls away, blush still on her face as she clears her throat in an attempt to preserve what dignity she still had. Well, it's good to see you well, sister. Hanabi couldn't look her in the eye and instead focused on the grinning Konohamaru. Where is that oafish husband of yours? Chuckling and deciding that Hanabi needed a bit of a reality check, Hinata stood slowly and motioned for them to follow her. I think then, we should head to the mansion. Naruto is busy with work, but I'm sure he'll make an exception for you both. Both younger ninja blink at her tone, watching as she bowed deeply to Tsunami, who waved her off with a smile. Konohamaru is the first to speak up. Why would Naruto-ni-san be busy? Hinata however captures Hanabi's hand in her own, dragging the girl along with a smile on her face. Well, he is the Kage, he's usually very busy. You knew that, didn't you? Hinata was focused forward as they reached the door, bowing again to Tsunami while missing the surprised looks on Hanabi's and Konohamaru's faces. Well, today suddenly was very interesting. Hinata was just happy to have her sister safe and sound. Hopefully the drama wouldn't be too bad. So, who wants to explain how you made it here? Faced with the information that they were about to be in even more trouble, Konohamaru instantly pointed at Hanabi. She got us captured by pirates. Blinking, Hinata turned to her sister slowly. What? You dirty traitor. Better you than me, princess. Hinata stared at both of them for a moment, mind still not catching up properly. Pirates. You blew up the ship though. It was a good plan. Blowing up a pirate ship and escaping their angry crew is a good plan. It is when you live. Blinking again, Hinata snatched both children by their shoulders. Explain. Now. Hanabi shared a nervous look with Konohamaru. This is your fault, you dumb monkey. Says you, princess, you're the reason we're out here in the first place. Hopefully Naruto would be nicer when they finally found him. His wife was scary. B. It is late into the evening as A settles down into his office. From his window he takes a moment to watch his village begin to wind down as night falls. As his gaze rakes over them, his mind goes back to the summit and the now anointed Azushio and the Azukage. There was danger there, A's intuition telling him that that boy was going to be real trouble. Killer B's warning again echoed in his mind before the Raikage shook the thought away. He had allied with Iwa specifically because of this. He would use Iwa's hatred of the boy to further Kumo's own cause. Above all else, I wanted to enrich Kumo and its people. Sure, he knew it was hypocritical at times, but in the end he did what was necessary to ensure his people's future. From the front office Mabui came walking into his office. While the brown-skinned and silver-haired woman continued to dress as many would expect a secretary should, I had to remind many that she was more than capable of killing full-grown men. Tonight, however, as she sat down one last stack of folders for him to go through, she gave him a worried look. Sire, you should call it a night. You don't have to catch up on your work all in one night. Mabui turned lightly to motion towards the door. Everyone else has left for the night. I considers her for a moment, knowing that she meant well enough before shaking his head. I won't be much longer. Go on and head home. I just have a bit more for tonight. I waved a hand to dismiss her. She was one of his most loyal ninja, and she deserved the rest. Go home, get some rest. There's always more work tomorrow. Taking the dismissal, Mabui took a step back and bowed to her cage. As you say, Lord Raikage. With a smart about face, Mabui strode out of his office, closing the door behind her without another word. I considers the closed door, wondering if maybe he should send Darui or maybe Samui to go and do something nice for the woman. She usually ended up overworking herself, maybe he should order her on a vacation or something. The girl works too hard, she deserves something nice. Muttering to himself, he only jumps a little when another voice chuckles in response to his voiced thoughts. You know, hearing you actually give a shit about your people raises my opinion of you. Not much, but a little bit. Naruto was grinning, holding up 2 glasses and a large bottle of sake. I'm not here to fight, I mean, unless you want to. Sitting down in one of the chairs before the other man's desk, Naruto fills up both glasses before taking one for himself, relaxing and waiting for A's reaction. It's not poison, I'm here to talk, not kill you. Like you could. I put the question for how the boy was here at all on the back burner. The fact was that he was here and no alarms were going off, that was more than enough to actually pay attention. I must be dreaming. The lack of sleep finally catching up with me. Naruto shrugs, taking a sip of sake while leaning back, taking the chair he was in up onto 2 legs. Doubt that. I keep reminding everyone that I can be sneaky when I want to be. I was outrunning Konoha Anbu before I even graduated from the academy. Using a bit of wind chakra to push the other glass towards A, Naruto nodded his way once. Seriously, share a drink with me. Let's hash things out as peacefully as we can. Seeing A shake his head, hands tented together as he watched the blonde, Naruto sighed and took another sip. Look, for both of our sakes, I'm going to make this as quick as possible. What makes you think I'm going to let you leave now that you're here? I was careful not to make any sudden moves right away, though he was circulating a small amount of chakra through him in order to activate his lightning armor at a moment's notice. I could kill you for this. Because I walked in here completely unnoticed. Nice village you have, by the way. This really would be a nightmare to try and siege if it came to war. Mountains are a bitch and a half. Here Naruto finally levels a cold glare A's way. Of course, you're welcome to try and kill me if you like. I'm sure you'll have a bitch of a time doing just that. Naruto had no illusions of just how destructive their battle would be. But that wasn't why he was here. All options are on the table though. Of course they are. Naruto wasn't about to deny that. Kurama would be happy to help out with this one. I recommend a raisin shuriken enema. That's disgusting. He deserves it. Both men stare each other down for a minute, before Asaizen picks up the other glass, taking a sip and refusing to compliment the taste. It was good, but the boy wouldn't get anything positive from him. So get to your point, why are you here? Naruto smirked and ticked off a box in his head. Well, to be blunt, right now there are several transformed copies of me extracting the Uzumaki remnants from your holding pens. Naruto's glare returned, but he didn't comment on it further, happy enough to see the enraged look pass over A's face. When I'm done, you'll vow to leave Azushio and the Uzumaki clan alone. You do that, and I'll never again darken your doorstep without your invite, and I won't bring up this bullshit ever again. Naruto had figured out that he was a good leader to his people. He just didn't consider anyone outside of his village as equal to them. Too bad for him. Naruto was willing to do a lot for his own people and clan. However, had to fight down a growl that rose in his throat. I'll do whatever I deem necessary for Kumo. This is an act of war as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I thought you'd think as much. Naruto finished off his drink and balanced the empty glass on a finger, taking his eyes off of the Raikage. So then here's the real deal. Flipping the glass into the air, with a thought it froze in place. Naruto then turned Rinnegan eyes towards the Raikage, sage chakra also flowing through him while he settled an oppressive layer of killing intent on the larger man. You keep this up, if Kumo marches on Azushio or its allies, I'll be back. And I will erase Kumo from existence. Chuckling and putting down his own glass, shakes his head, my, you're actually no different from myself or Onokia you. You're just as willing to spill blood as all of the previous Kage before you. So much for peace. Letting his chakra dissipate, Naruto shrugged, I don't want it to be this way. But you and Onoki are old blood who refuse to see that the world is changing around you. Naruto let the glass go mentally, catching it in a hand to admire his reflection in its surface. You only respond to visceral amounts of violence. And well, I'm capable of giving you as much of that as you want. Leans back in his own seat, arms crossing as he considers his options. You won't be allowed to get away with this, one way or another. It was too bad, but I was going to have to smack down Azushio sooner than expected. Hopefully they could make use of the QB in a new container afterwards. Naruto pretends to think about it, head tilting this way and that before the glass is again balanced on a fingertip. That secretary of yours, Mabui was it. Sweet girl, easy on the eyes. Twitching, I can feel something dark settle in his chest. You. And the rest of your village. I wonder how they'll fare in the war you so desperately want. What about Team Samui? Your guard, Darui was it? What about them? Cold eyes looked at her through the empty glass that Naruto held up. You know what I'm known for. I'm not like the other villages. I won't be coming back to lay siege to your mountain fortress. All it'll take is me, alone and a single well-placed bomb. Naruto smirked finally as the Raikage began to tremble with barely held back rage. About the only one safe is Killer B. Where is he by the way? You're hiding him away, aren't you? Standing and smashing a fist down into his desk, grit his teeth. I will personally grind you into a fine paste, you cocky brat. Hey relax. You started this after all. Naruto ticked off with his fingers as he watched the enraged Kage. Never mind kidnapping the Uzumaki, which is a death sentence all on its own, but then sending the Sky Village to attack my home. Oh, can't forget kidnapping Hinata Heim when she was younger, or the various atrocities you perpetuated on the Uzumaki over the years. Oh, and largest of all, helping with Azushio's original destruction. Can't forget that. Naruto turned all his fingers over and gave her the bird. You have a lot to answer for, old man. In a blink, A is above Naruto with his body wreathed in lightning with a fist cocked back for a final blow. In the next blink, A has crashed into the floor, shaking the very tower itself while Naruto is settling himself in the Raikage's very plush chair. Huh, maybe he could get one like this. Man, you're jumpy. You really can't handle someone getting one over on you for once, can you? Buffing his nails as A stands and turns back to face him, Naruto grins all the more. You're fast, just not fast enough. Grunting and keeping his eyes locked on the blonde, you're just like your father. You're quick when it comes to running away. Pausing in thought, Naruto decides the time for playing around was long over. Setting his glass down next to the Raikage's own full one, Naruto stands slowly. Look, I came here to offer you a chance to end things here as peacefully as we could. I didn't want to see more bloodshed between our villages and I still don't. But from here on it's up to you. I'll respond accordingly to whatever you decide to do. Taking a deep sigh, Naruto turned sage-empowered Rinnegan eyes on A. I want peace. But I won't just roll over and die. You won't have a choice. Already in Naruto's personal space, A brings his fist crashing down into his chair where Naruto had been standing. Instantly back up and turning back to where Naruto had been originally, he doesn't miss the mass of chakra surrounding the boy. Just saying. This could have been peaceful. chakra gathering in his palm, Naruto mentally called this meeting a dud. Shinra Tensei. The outpouring of chakra obliterates the office. The Raikage launched at speed to crash through a building before landing in the street to create a crater there. Alarms sound throughout the village and already I can see his ninja up in arms and swarming over the rooftops, several making for his office while a few were already alighting on the pavement around him. Unhurt for the moment but for his pride, the Raikage groaned as he stood. Shifty brat. Keep it up, and I'll be back. I'm not opposed to using overwhelming force and fear to get my way. Not anymore. Naruto's voice wafted through his ears, before I can pinpoint where the boy is. Several ninja were around him now, but the questions that were flying fell on deaf ears as the Raikage considered his enemy's words. So the boy wanted to play in the big leagues, did he? Fine by him. Darui is there, pushing through the crowd as several fires spring up around the village. Lord Raikage. Are we under attack? A grunts, coming to his feet and waving off the assembled ninja, see to any wounded and put out the fires, quickly. Several ninja give their compliance and race away, while he begins to walk back towards his office, Darui at his heels. Put a team together to repair my office. Darui frowns, considering what he knew and what he had seen on the way here. It was the Uzumaki, wasn't it, sir? There were already reports that the fires were located at the holding pens. No one outside of the village knew about those. Don't speculate, just as I say for the moment. A's mind was already racing. The boy was able to sneak into his village unseen, steal away those captured Uzumaki and hand him a solid loss in a quick fight. None of that information boded well for future battles, but I refused to stand down before that whelp. Feeling Darui still there, having delegated tasks to another lower ninja, I gave him more orders. I want 2 teams put together, specialized in infiltration and extraction. Understood. Darui nodded quickly. It will be done. And then he was gone, leaving us standing in the street below his office, where he could just make out a giant smiling face painting in orange all over the tower. Snotty brat. I'll show you Kumo's real might. It was time to impress Killer B on his duty to the village. B. The sun was high, the waves crashed against the rocks of his personal training ground, and Naruto was all grins as his family and a few friends were all gathered together for his final surprise for a long while. Sakura and Sasuke stood on either side of him while all of the girls mingled and gathered before him. Behind them all Tsunade stood with deceptively calm hands on the shoulders of Hanabi and Konohamaru after having vowed to take the 2 home personally after all the trouble they had caused. Hadn't that been a surprise last night, but Hinata had been giddy all day because of their little visit and Naruto had been thankful for it. Now however, as the girls expressed their curiosity about why he summoned them all out here together, Naruto made enough clones for everyone before holding up a hand. Just you wait. I want to show you something really special. This had been a work in secret for a while now after all, only sped up because of Sasuke and Sakura's arrival. Ino is next to Tayuya, grinning and bumping hips with the fiery girl. Think we're getting a surprise vacation. Ino easily hopped into her clone's arms, smirking at it. How about it, big guy? No can do, Ino. Tayuya hums at that. It's been a while. Think we'll go back to hot springs. Her own clone pulled her into a soft hug from behind, eliciting a purr from her lips. Karen shakes her head. No way. Maybe we're going on a major tour this time. He was muttering about the land of birds last night. Or it might have been vegetables. Or valleys. That continent had more than a few problems. Her own clone hugged her much as Tayuya's own did. Kotohime hums at that, delighted to have her own younger sister with him even if Kin wouldn't stop fussing over her belly. I doubt Naruto would bring all of us outside of Azushio right now, the worry wart. It was endearing really, if a little frustrating. Several clones joined up with the Riptide team as well as herself and Kyuki. Konohamaru grunted as a clone placed a hand on his shoulder. I'm in trouble, aren't I, Nisan? Like you wouldn't believe. You deserve it, Barker. Hanabi knew better than to mouth off to the powerful feeling clone that settled a hand on her shoulder as well. Certainly her sister would help her out later. Konohamaru grinned at the girl. You'll warm up to me eventually, Nabs. N.A. Nabs. It's Hanabi. Ha. N.A. Bye. Don't assume to be so familiar with me, monkey. See, there it is, there's my nickname. And maybe I'll start calling you Firecracker then. Squawking and caught off guard, Hanabi was left speechless for a moment. Eventually she took a deep breath to really wind up for a tirade before the clone with her flicked her on the forehead. What was that for you, oaf? A free hand came up to rub at the sore spot. Chill out, firecracker, the show is about to start. Suna did her best to ignore the strong chest that hugged her from behind. What with her hands occupied at the moment, I'm going to bash both you brats into the floor if you don't quiet down. And possibly Naruto as well, this was his fault after all. Watching as the rest of the group was joined by a clone, Naruto raised a hand. You'll all just have to wait and see. And with a thought, they all flashed away. In the next breath the entire group was settled in a heavily wooded area, though they could still smell the sea air and hear waves in the distance. Curious as the clones all let their passengers go, Naruto waved them off and the clones rushed away to parts unknown. Naruto was in front of everyone still, grinning and holding his arms out wide. Welcome one and all, this is a very special place I'd like to introduce you to, so please, follow me. Ino notes as they walk several varieties of plants and flowers that lined their little path which was carefully cobblestoned. I know most of these are Land of Fire native. But taking a look at the thin but dark wood trees around them, those were certainly Azu trees. Where are we? Next to her Hinata is doing her best to refrain from using her Byakugan, not wanting to spoil Naruto's surprise. We haven't traveled far I don't think. We must still be in Azu. Tayuya is on the other side of Hinata as they walk along, admiring all the greenery while casting glances at Team 7 who were bantering back and forth with easy laughter. We are. I don't know exactly which island, but I remember seeing a survey report that described a heavily forested island. Putting a hand to her temple as if to massage the answers out of her brain, Tayuya eventually gave it up. Whiskers has been keeping a secret. A surprise. Not a secret. Naruto called out as they continued to walk, while just behind him Naruto and Fu are almost bouncing in place. Naruto notices and wags a finger their way, and no flying off, this is a surprise for everyone in the family. You'll get to explore, don't worry. Fu puffed out her cheeks, spoil sport. Naruto laughed and hugged the girl to her side. I'm sure it'll be fine. Like he said, we'll get to explore later. Honoka raises a hand. Did you find something special out here? Karen nods her head along, like a private hot spring. That gets a few murmurs from the group. Chuckling, Naruto shook his head. It's just ahead, just be patient. Tayuya is still watching Team 7 while the rest of the group finally settles in and just enjoys the peaceful walk. She pokes Ino in the side to gain her attention. I have a feeling Sakura and Sasuke have some idea of what's up. The two calm. Ino starts to pay attention to the group, eventually nodding with Tayuya's estimation of things. You're right. They're moving like they've been here before. Hinata hums at that. What could be out here that Naruto would show them first but not us? Hinata didn't think Naruto would have been doing anything dangerous out here, but even still, he was known to go overboard. The group breaks through the tree line, seeing that they were actually rather high up on a hill. This gave them a view of a high-walled district laid out before them, a large lake towards the rear of which while at the main gate several of Naruto's clones could be seen running away. Here Naruto turned with Sakura and Sasuke, a wide smile still on his face. Everyone could easily see the Uchiha crest on one door of the main gate, but the Uzumaki crest on the other was a surprise. Sasuke coughed to gain everyone's attention. Welcome to the Uchiha district, moved here from Konoha by myself and Naruto. Well, mostly Naruto. Teamwork brother, teamwork. Anyway, Sasuke accepted Sakura's hand in his, enjoying the gentle squeeze from her as reassurance. Originally I had wanted to leave it all alone, as a monument to the lives lost of my clan. But, after some thinking and watching what Uzushio has become, I decided against that idea. The dead wouldn't want to see their homes crumble to dust after all. Instead, I'd rather see the Uchiha honored by the living, much as the Uzumaki fallen would. So, Sasuke turns to look out at the sprawling district, with a few additions on the far side of the lake, so myself and Naruto came up with an idea. We planned on joining the Uzumaki and Uchiha clans anyway, so why not start here? I have my family home, so why turn the rest of the district into a private clan compound for all of us? That set the entire group buzzing and Sasuke nodded to Naruto, who motioned everyone forwards. Down the hill they went, entering the district through the wide open gates while following after the quiet Team 7. There was less banter here while everyone took in the refurbished homes and shops, empty for now, but in the future. Well, who knew? It was a few minutes before they moved through the main district, reaching the Uchiha clan home where Sasuke and Sakura peeled off from the group. We have some cleaning up to do ourselves, but we'll be along shortly. Sakura winked at Amaru, don't worry, we won't be long. Naruto turned back to also wink at the girl, you're free to hang here first if you like. Amaru shook her head, no I want to see it. They all could see the massive 3-storied home on the other side of the lake, and everyone had their own idea of what Naruto had planned. As they continued on, Amaru glanced back only once to see Sakura and Sasuke wave them away before disappearing into their home. Another few minutes of walking brought them to a truly massive home with a well-kept front yard nestled between two wings of the home. Behind such was a training ground and what looked like a natural hot spring. But as Naruto led them to the front doors, he paused to again turn and address them all. Sir, I've loved the Uzumaki mansion, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to move out of it completely. But having an actual home for the Uzumaki clan felt really important to have. We're going to have kids on the way, and they should be able to have a safe and out-of-the-way place to be able to run around and grow. Not in the middle of that super busy city. So for us, and future generations, I built this home for all of us. Naruto looked up to the 3-story home built of deep redwoods and dark supporting oak. Stone was used at the lower foundations, but everything was styled in a very Konoha way that everyone took notice of. Tayuya is the first to raise a hand, when did you have the time for this? She had been watching him, and he hadn't been running off to slack off. Sure he had made a few clones here and there, but nothing that would allow this. It was Karen who snapped her fingers, this is what you've been making all those clones for. Seeing she had everyone's attention, she pointed a finger at the bashful Naruto. Late at night I'd catch him flashing away for a bit and when he returned he would always be low on chakra like he just had a shitload of clones. Language. Everyone paused as Tayuya's voice echoed out near instantly. Seeing the raised eyebrows from everyone else, said woman slowly realized what she had said, I've been around the school teachers too much. Ino chuckled as Naruto stepped forward to slide open the front doors. To think she used to be the crass one. She wouldn't knock the Uzumaki girl for her transformation. Life was just strange like that sometimes. Journeying down the clean and fresh entrance hallway, Naruto leads them to a large main seating and gathering area. So, one last thing, but I decided to make a little trip the other night. Getting ahead of them, Naruto waiting for all of the group to gather at the hallway to be greeted by the Uzumaki remnants that he had saved from Kumo. The Raikage sends his regards, by the way. Eyes wide, Tayuya, Karen, Amaru, and Honoka especially are more than a little surprised by the 11 other Uzumaki clan members standing in a cluster behind a proud-looking Naruto. Mostly women of varying ages though most looked to be in their 20s or 30s, there was one young boy hiding behind one of the younger girls, and another elderly man leaning heavily against a fresh and brand new cane. Dressed in deep blue and red robes, they all to a one bowed deeply to the group. It is a matronly woman, red hair cut short and age lines running down her cheeks to step forward to come next to Naruto. Naruto-sama, again we would like to thank you profusely for saving us from that nightmare. Naruto waves her off, grin still unable to leave his face, your family Kikyo. I'd burn hell to the ground to come and save you if needed. Naruto turns back to the group, seeing a few tears in the girl's eyes. I know I was reckless here, but at least now we can focus on us. Screw Kumo and Iwa. Our family is finally whole, or at least, as whole as we can make it. Naruto turned to address the survivors directly, this is your home now, and I don't expect anything from any of you. Live how you want. Laze about, heal, find some new meaning to what you want to do, don't do anything. It doesn't matter, so long as you can find a new happiness here. Seeing as emotions were in fact running high, Tsunade sighed and stepped forward while holding up a hand. If you don't know me, I'm Tsunade, Hokage and also a leading medical specialist. If you'd like, I like to give all of you checkups while I'm here. Getting multiple agreements after a few furtive glances Naruto's way, Tsunade was led away by a Naruto clone with a few of the women to a room off to the side. Naruto himself watched the two groups come together, his girls easily reassuring the newly arrived Uzumaki along with fawning over the nervous boy who looked a few years younger than Konohamaru and Hanabi. That said, as Naruto distanced himself and let the groups mingle, he didn't miss the elderly man hobble his way slowly. You should rest, sir, you've been through a lot. Like you wouldn't believe, son. But it's a story that'll die with me. Heavy is my shame. Tired blue eyes held Naruto's own, and the man bowed to the Uzumaki clan head deeply. My lord, I have but one request. Naruto nods as some of the girls break off, beginning to explore the massive house while Konohamaru and Hanabi convince the younger boy to play out in the backyard. Sure thing, name it and I'll make it happen. Naruto turns to give the elder his full and undivided attention. Shame crossed the elder's face, before with a deep breath he pulled himself back together, a firm resolve there, as one ninja to another. I have but one last mission to complete, if you'll allow. Seeing Naruto nod slowly, his grip on his cane tightens. On my name, Shock Hero of Dust, I'd like to pay vengeance upon Kumo. Shock Hero, Naruto paused from immediately refusing the request. He knew that Kumo wouldn't let things go and he knew there was going to be violence one way or another. However, the thought of sacrificing anyone from his clan was unbearable. Even this elder who was well past his prime. The man was hunched, back bent not only under his own weight, but Naruto suspected a long life of shame and regrettable actions. When the time comes, I'll let you drop the hammer. That is all that I ask, Lord Uzumaki. The clan will go far under your care. Here Shockiro takes a step back, lowering himself to the floor to bow and place his forehead at Naruto's feet while around him the room went silent as everyone else watched on. I accept you, Naruto Uzumaki, as the clan's head and heir. Please, do us and our ancestors proud. Naruto watches as many of the others, including his own girls, bow deeply at the waist in their own show of support, making Naruto grunt but accept it all the same. Returning the bow, deeply at the waist, he mentally promised to make sure Kumo felt the hurt for what they did. On my honor, the Uzumaki clan will not fade into history. Never again will we allow the world to break us apart. Returning to his full height and helping Shockiro to his feet, Naruto held up a fist and cheered, but enough of the sad stuff. Tonight is a celebration. We're all together finally. Let's relax and have some real fun. Getting cheers from the others, Naruto hands Shockiro off to a clone to be helped off to a comfortable-looking lounge chair. Watching on, Naruto decides that for the first time in a long time, everything just felt right. Complete. He dared anyone to try and break them apart now. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.